Alright guys, we're going to do the PCSL cast for Tousan versus Doodle. This should be a pretty high level game. Tousan, we saw in the KCM against Dragon. He actually gave us a really good game, so I'm really curious to see him play against Doodle. Doodle, however, he's S rank, right?
Yeah, he's S now.
Yeah, so Doodle, very, very good Protoss player. Definitely going to give Tousan some pretty tough games, so we'll see how he can do. Same as the last series, it's going to be a best of 3. First map's going to be Metropolis, and loser picks the map. We're going to be using the new SSL map pool, so you might see some maps that you haven't seen before. So we're going to go and jump into this game. And yeah, I'm actually really interested to watch this one. Tousan really impressed me in the KCM last time I saw him play. Alright, spawning in the top left, we have Tousan, our Terran hero, for those of us that have become Terran players. Okay, we're always rooting for the Terrans nowadays. And then top right, we have Doodle. I've never watched... Well, I wouldn't say never, but I've rarely watched Doodle play, but I hear all the time about how strong he is.
Yeah, he's just a really, really strong, fundamentally sound player. You know, practices really hard, rose up the ranks very quickly, and he's just really tough guy to beat. Like, you can throw tricks at him, but he's gonna, you know, usually deflect them and all that good stuff. He's just gonna play really solid. That's sort of the play style I've seen him play. I played against him once. He killed me with like 2 Dragoons, basically. It was not a pretty game, let's put it that way. But on the other side, Tousan, you know, Ozzy, you and I are on the same CPL team as him. He's currently, I think, undefeated in Tier 0 in CPL. I think he's like 7-0 or something crazy like that. So super, super strong player. It's not even like he's playing against like the lower Tier 0 guys. He's playing against like, you know, the pretty top guys on the opposing team. And
right.
He's done a fantastic job for our team this season.
Yeah, he's definitely been performing really well in CPL. So yeah, the thing I was going to ask was about Doodle style, and you kind of just told me there. He just plays like a standard strong style. I assume he doesn't really do a whole lot of cheese. Have you seen him mix much cheese in, or how does he like to play?
Not really. You know, he's just one of those guys who you're going to play against him. He's not going to try to throw a curveball at you. He's just going to look at you straight in the face and say, I'm just going to beat you straight up. And that's always been how he is, and I haven't really seen him deviate kind of from that strategy.
I like that. I respect that play style, because that's how I played Protoss, right? So I can respect it. It's a style that says that he wants to win because he's better than you, right? He believes that he's better than you. He wants to win because he's better than you, and it sounds like he plays that kind of style. So I have a lot of respect for someone that plays that way. Not to say that cheesing is bad, guys. All right, it is actually a good thing to mix in a series, but yeah, I do like people that just practice strong, solid games. We're going to get that Crawl Scout first from Tousan. You don't see that very often, actually, TVP. Usually it's near spawns because they're looking for a potential 12 Nexus bust.
Yeah, really interesting to see that coming out. And, you know, again, I just wonder what this has been. We've seen a lot of Terrans kind of start doing this Cross Scout instead of doing like a normal End Scout. And we did see, obviously, that from this position, he has actually seen the probe coming down. So he actually does know where Doodle is on a second scout, essentially. You know, again, I have to actually probably look at the timings and all that good stuff to see exactly what's going on for the reason why Terrans are starting to do this. But it is very interesting to see. And Doodle's actually going to get the last scout here, so pretty bad for him. He's not going to get the information, especially off of a 1-Rax fast expand. You know, Protoss usually wants to see that as fast as possible so that they can be greeted themselves, or maybe do something like a proxy robo, for example. Yeah,
going to be a good start for Tousan. And I wonder, too, if the Crawl Scout is relative to him going 15cc. Because he was going to be doing it regardless at that point, it looked like. And yeah, it's going to be like a 23 Nexus, looks like, for Doodle. So this is pretty much best case scenario for Tousan as an opener. Getting last scouted, 23 Nexus versus the 15cc. So yeah, pretty comfortable start for Tousan here.
Yeah, Doodle's actually going for a 24 next, looks like. His probe is a little bit late getting to that natural, but it's not really going to matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Dragoon does see the bunker out front, so unfortunately for Doodle, he's probably thinking to himself, damn, I got last scout, and he went 1RX FE, so I can't even really punish this that well. Obviously, he did go for the fast range, so he will get some economic damage there with the SCV repair, but unfortunately, again, just not in the spot you really want to be as a Protoss player, seeing your Terran opponent fast expand like this.
Yeah, he actually didn't see the CC yet, so he might not know yet that it's 15, because he only saw the bunker. He didn't go far enough to confirm the CC timing. But he will be able to notice if he doesn't already know. He will be able to notice. Should by now even, right? Because we haven't seen a factory unit, so he should already know something's going on at least.
Yep, absolutely. Tousan over here is got the SCV still alive, and he's actually going to come loop around here. Maybe he can sneak in here before the third goon pops out and get the SCV into the main. And it's going to be a really good timing because he'll know exactly kind of what Doodle is planning for, if he's going for maybe a fast Citadel or if he's going to try to go into something like a Reaver Tech. Obviously, Robo is standard at this timing, so he's not going to know exactly what this robotics facility is going to be used for. But this is always really nice. You know for sure at least it's not going to be a DT rush at this point off of a 23 next.
Yeah, this is great scouting from Tousan because this means he gets to skip the eBay for a pretty decent while. Like you said, he doesn't know if it's going to be Reaver or not, but at least he does confirm that it's not DT, so he can be a little bit greedier, can just go and throw down that armory and delay his eBay a little bit, so that's kind of nice for him. We got the tank building, no siege mode on the way yet. There's going to be 3 goons up here shooting away at this bunker, but, I mean, you see it in the worker count. Tousan up 2 workers as a Terran player. That feels pretty fantastic at this stage in the game.
Yep, and one thing to note actually as well is we didn't really mention this at the very beginning, but the spawning locations for Terran vs Protoss. This is one of the maps that I've been talking about a lot in terms of the spawn imbalances, and actually the spawns favor Tousan quite a bit here in the Terran vs Protoss situation because Protoss's normal third is actually 12 o'clock here, but instead they're gonna have to expand to the 3 o'clock position, which is a little bit more exposed. And so we might see Tousan with the favorable positions just go for like a really fast like 6 factory push of some sort. So again, just gonna have to see sort of how the players want to decide how to play the rest of this game out. Doodle does have that probe over at 3 o'clock as well, getting ready to take that expansion, but he has opted for the double support bay here. Mistake from Doodle, unfortunately. Yeah, not what he wants, unfortunately. He's gonna research. Oh, he canceled. Okay.
All right, good. Yeah, a little bit could have been bad. I thought, oh, right, when I double tap A, it brings up the replay progress. Sorry about that, guys. Gotta remember not to do that. We're going to see that 3 tank push come out from Tousan, a very common push. It is going to be into a Reaver, so Doodle should be able to hold this pretty easily with proper micro, but does lose 1 goon and 1 goon getting very, very low. One thing I wanted to...
One too.
Yeah, kind of forgets to go all the way back, so only going halfway back, losing another half goon on top of the one that died. So definitely a pretty good start for Tousan. Shuttle coming out with the Reaver now, but one thing I wanted to mention real quick before this starts is this push position also very hard for Protoss to stop. Later in the game, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. But here comes the Reaver. Does see the Reaver come out. Nice scarab shot there. Picks off the last anti-air on the Marine, and we'll be able to start picking off these siege tanks as well. Tousan's going to continue to push up here. Maybe he's going to try to get this last Dragoon, because without any more Dragoon support, these Vultures can definitely get in here and get a lot of probe kills, and that's exactly what Tousan's going to be going for. He's going to sacrifice that last tank, get a couple of mines laid down here, and he's going to run these Vultures into the main base and start picking off probes. So this is really good damage here from Tousan, especially on top of the fact that Doodle doesn't have that 3rd base yet over at the 3 o'clock position. So we're going to see this worker count starting to really balloon in favor of Tousan, and behind this, Tousan is getting the armory as well, but continuing to rally Vultures around to maybe get some more pressure. But man, this is a lot of damage here that Doodle's receiving.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mine! Killing the Reaver and a couple probes.
Ooh, I looked away. Sorry, guys, I missed that right when I looked away. Another big mine hit, too, on top of these 2 Dragoons. And yeah, this is amazing damage now for Tousan. Look at the worker discrepancy now after this as well. And Doodle did not remember to cancel this pylon, so he's gonna have to kill this pylon as well before he can get out. 3rd Nexus just recently started. Doodle in a lot of pain. Gonna have to try and find a lot of damage with a Reaver, but like you said, we lost it to the mine, so can't even get any counter damage done after all of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a map like this where it is very good for air harass, as we see the main of Tousan, you know, you got that little kind of spot poking out behind the natural mineral line there, and it's a really good spot to drop Reavers, especially because that one turret right there at the very right side of his main isn't going to cover everything. So there's going to be a safe spot to drop that Reaver to pick off the turret and then start getting in more and getting some damage done. But because he did lose that Reaver, as you said, there's no counter pressure. So Tousan is going to be able to just macro up really easily here. He's already got up to 5 factories, not going for 6, which is actually an interesting decision. I feel like, you know, in this position, after he did so much damage and killed the Reaver, I would have expected him to just throw down the 6 factory and say, I'm just going to push you and kill you, because it's not like he needs to go for an economic game here with off of a 5 fact. But that's the choice he's making, and I mean, regardless, he's going to be in a fantastic position.
Yeah, definitely agree. And we do actually see the 6 factory starting just now, so he is going to probably commit to a push after all. Yeah, maybe just Either it was like a little bit of a later decision or maybe just waiting for resources, whatever it was. But yeah, is going to go potentially for that kill now after that great opening for him. And it's going to be very hard for Doodle to find much damage here. He does get in with this Reaver and Goon and gets 1 kill on the turrets. We do have these kind of safety mines set up, and I like the way Tousan's kind of doing his defense up here. It's going to be very hard for Doodle to get through this to find any like real damage. Going to pick off a few units here and there. Goon does go down. Reaver going to get picked up now and fly away. So minimal damage for Doodle, but at least a little bit of harassment, trying to disrupt Tousan just as much as he can. But Tousan still with that 2-worker lead, and gearing up for a potential killer push here.
Yeah, Tousan off of that 1 Rax fast expand already. Almost 60 workers there at 10-minute mark, which is incredible. Really strong economy for him. And as you said, yeah, his defense there was actually immaculate, right? I mean, he did lose an SCV and the turret there, but other than that, he didn't lose a siege tank. He didn't get any more pressure than was going to come towards him, and so he's ready now for that push. He's got 6 factories plus 1 is not anywhere near done yet. He actually, I think, maybe put that down a little bit later than he would have wanted to, but he's getting ready for that push, and we see that the tanks are already sieged up. Look at this. It's a really solid play from him, knowing that the Dragoons want to get out front. He's already dropped the siege tanks and sieged them up to be able to push these goons back and get some damage on them.
Yeah, great scan ahead as he was getting ready to push out to make sure he doesn't get caught off guard. Doodle does get up to 2 Reavers right now, and we don't have any turrets, or Goliaths, sorry, making or made at this point, so... Unfortunately for Doodle, though, these Reavers completely in the wrong position as these units are coming out, pushing it into his goons.
Yeah, Tousan's controlling this really, really well here. He's getting these vultures to kind of try to wrap around these Dragoons, lay some mines. Dragoons are now pushed southward rather than being pushed on the retreat path. And so this is going to be really difficult here for Doodle. If Tousan can continue to lay mines between his army and Doodle's army, then Doodle's army will be cut off as Tousan continues to push here into the natural expansion. There is another shuttle with a lot of zealots out here, and unfortunately no mines were laid. So the Dragoons are starting to get a little bit on top of these siege tanks. The vultures are not in the best position here. And the mines are going down. Reaver is getting dropped on top of tanks. Has Doodle held this? What a scarab shot as well. Beautiful Reaver control here from Doodle. And Doodle magnificently holds this push. That's incredible.
Yeah, great punishment. Kind of a little bit of too much of a rush, I feel like, from Tousan. Definitely pushing really, really deep, which was great initially, but then not checking for like the flank or anything like that. Like you said, no mines going down below his army, which really surprised me, and it allowed Doodle to get into this great position uncontested into an unsieged Terran push there. So what should have been or could have been a game-ending push for Tousan gets completely snuffed out by Doodle, almost as optimally as you could hope for.
Yeah, I mean, Doodle only lost 1 Reaver there. Still's got that 1 Reaver at the 9 o'clock expansion right now. Going to try to get some harassment down. Goliaths are there to push it away. But as you were saying before, there wasn't any Goliaths. No Goliath range hasn't even been started yet. You know, hasn't even, let alone been finished for that push. And so a lot of the time, you know, we always hear players like Light talk about how you do need 4 to 6 Goliaths with your push when you do it, because especially if the opponent goes for shuttle style, you really need those Goliaths to kind of kill those shuttles and at least make sure that if he does drop the Reavers to kill some siege tanks, you can at least kill the shuttle in return and kill the Reavers off so that you can't get any kind of counter pressure. So just massive play there from Doodle. Now, at the very least, Tousan is gotten his 3rd base started before the 4th base of Doodle. Doodle did lose that probe going down to the bottom right-hand portion of the map to try to set up that 4th base, but instead he's going to expand to the 12 o'clock here for this 4th base.
And that's a dangerous looking base to take for Doodle. It's so close to the Terran rally points. But yeah, like you said, I mean, Tousan getting his 3rd down at a pretty good time. We do have these 3 shuttles flying in through the top. We have these extra turrets coming down, finishing just in time with a nice minefield too. I love this setup.
Yeah, Zealot getting dropped here. Going to clear out some of the mines here. Oh, but there is a mine that does hit on both the Reavers there. So Reavers are actually very low HP at this moment right now. So at least the nice thing is that Doodle, because he cleared out those turrets, he does have an escape path for these shuttles if he needs to run back. But he's going to maybe try to target down this armory, which is trying to research that +1 plating upgrade right now. The tanks are getting on top of these Reavers. 1 Reaver does manage to survive. Unfortunately, 1 does go down, but he's just going to retreat. He's going to keep that Reaver and run it away.
Yeah, really nice setup from Tousan. Manages to not lose his armory. Almost kills the Reaver shuttle on the way out.
It's so sad.
Yeah, this depot looks like it might end up burning down, but yeah, I mean, pretty good defense from Tousan. Doodle luckily didn't lose too much, just a few units, 1 shuttle, 1 Reaver. I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but it could have been a lot worse. I thought that defense setup was honestly looking really, really clean from Tousan, so it could have been a lot uglier for Doodle. But Tousan's 3rd going to be up and running here now very soon. These mines do at least spot this Nexus. Unfortunately for Tousan, we're slightly misplaced, so it did get to go down quicker, but he does at least know it's here, and he's going to start pushing into this position. And Doodle looks like he's kind of unaware of the move out right now. Oh, flying in with 3 shuttles at the 3 o'clock. Or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, he's trying to counter right now. Meanwhile, Tousan's going to kill off this fourth base here from Doodle. Doodle's also expanding down to the bottom right. He's got a probe set up there, getting the Nexus down as well. So it's kind of like a little bit of a base trade here. Doodle is essentially saying, yeah, you can kill my 4th base, but I'm going to kill your 3rd. And a Terran on 2 base is going to be worse than me, who I'm already starting to set up that 5th base down there at the bottom right. So this, you know, it's kind of interesting, the positions here. Obviously, we did expect that this base would go down here for Doodle at 12 o'clock, because it's so close to the Terran spawn location, essentially. But man, it's gonna be difficult to kind of push up this ramp here with these Dragoons. So yeah, they're gonna have to back up a little bit. So, you know, dealt a little bit of economic damage, but he is gonna end up losing this 12 o'clock expansion.
A lot of DTs coming out from Doodle now. We'll see how quick Tousan is to scan these armies when the DTs show up. Looks like he might try pushing into the 3rd base again from Tousan. 12 o'clock, gonna go down, not really defendable, so I completely understand giving this up. Gonna go for another bust attempt here at the 9 o'clock, but again, these units are pretty close for Terran from the natural if he reacts quickly.
Yep, mine's going off right now. Zealots are doing a pretty good job of getting through right now. Only 1 mine remains. Shuttle's going to sacrifice itself to get these Zealots down, but here, Tousan's going to come out and respond, laying a couple mines down here to kind of block and pick off these DTs, hopefully. But really good mine drags there from Doodle so far, but unfortunately, I think just too many Terran units here to for Doodle to push in here and stop this 3rd base from going up for Terran. Yeah,
this is going to get cleaned up, and Doodle does at least retake that 4th base, like you were pointing out. But supply looking pretty good for Tousan right now. We do have our sci-fi done, but we don't have any upgrades running right now. Just kind of non-stop fighting. Lots of DT, actually, from Doodle. A lot of DT.
Yeah, it's like made like 5 DTs at a time. Kind of an interesting tactic here, especially for when you're not really panicking. You're kind of sending them in with the army. I mean, there are so many turrets out on the map right now for Tousan that, you know, these DTs are not being very effective right now. Oh, there was a drop also at the natural here. Yeah. Unfortunately, not that many minerals left here at the natural, but the Reavers are going to be able to get some damage down at the very least and stop Tousan from mining here. Now actually even targeting down the scanner. So he targeted down that 1 turret over there and now targeting down the scanner. So maybe the DTs are going to try to come out and do a little bit more damage without enough detection. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, these 2 Reavers are actually getting a lot of value. They killed a fair amount of SCVs, stopping all the mining, killing a few units here. So actually getting pretty good damage. We do have that bottom left base up and running now for Tousan. Just a few SCVs there at the moment.
Probe transfer coming down here at the 3 o'clock position right now. Oh, I think Doodle's going to lose so many of these probes. 12 probes are going to go down here, unfortunately.
So
oh, that is cruel. And he's already got siege tanks in position to shell down these cannons right now. And Doodle's army just looking very, very small right now. He's only got like about 10 Dragoons here in the middle of the map, going to try to contest this Terran ball. But he's got to get some Zealot reinforcements if he's going to try to contest this position here from Tousan.
Yeah, goons are not going to cut it. We do have a few Zealots coming down and a shuttle with 3 Templar.
Splash.
And he kind of he has to clean this up even, because if this army wins here, it pushes into the bottom right, and there's just only 1 base mining essentially for Doodle, but great storms on top of these units.
Beautiful storms. Yeah, that's going to save him a little bit here, but the tanks are still live. They're all at red HP. Is there a gateway down here at the bottom? No gateways down at the bottom, so he can't even reinforce quickly. He does have some DTs coming up. There is a missile turret, though, for Tousan. Tousan continuing to build these missile turrets. Maybe he knows that Doodle likes to build these DTs or something, because, man, he's building a lot of these turrets here, and the shuttle is going to try to load up some DTs, maybe drop them on top of the siege tanks, but, man, this is not looking good for Doodle right now.
Empty shuttle just flew into 3 o'clock. The Reaver was trying to load into the shuttle, it looks like, so it's just crawling into, I keep calling it 3 o'clock, the 3rd base. Reaver just going to crawl up there at this point, but going to get intercepted. Has no scarabs, so it's going to die for free. The multitasking from Doodle actually being pretty taxed from the constant splitting, like the pushing from Tousan. And yeah, I mean, Doodle's economy not looking great. This bottom left base being uncontested so far could be huge for Tousan. We see in the supply is up 17 supply, down only 10 workers, which is really, really good for Terran. That means his army supply is very big compared to the Protoss.
Yeah, does a good job killing off the tanks though with these DT drop, almost acting like a Zealot bomb, so a little bit more expensive, I guess, of a Zealot bomb. But unfortunately for him, man, back at 12 o'clock expansion, Tousan is now going to be able to maybe stop this base from going up once again. Now, he does have a few Dragoons here that are kind of stopping these siege tanks and vultures from getting up there to the 12 and really killing it. There weren't any probes up there, but unfortunately at the same time, right now, there are so many vultures down here at the bottom right, wreaking havoc on the Protoss economy as well. So just so much action around the map. I think, again, as you said, Tousan is really stretching Doodle's attention thin And the fact that Tousan has had that bottom left untouched this entire time means that Doodle is just continuing to fall behind on the economy, and you cannot fall behind economically against a Terran.
Man, Doodle loves his DTs. We're making a lot of DT this game. It's kind of crazy. I don't usually see so many DT. Doodle is out of bank, but he's up 30 supply now, so he's actually had some pretty decent trades going right now. Bottom right did lose a lot of its prods, but we had plenty to transfer since we have mined out a couple bases at the moment, so not really going to hurt too much in the economy yet. Tousan, okay, we're getting a storm drop here at the bottom left, and this actually could be pretty painful because we don't have a lot of economy beyond this base.
Yeah, beautiful storm drop there, killing off, I think it was about like 10 SCVs or so. That Archon will get taken out and cleaned up by those vultures, but luckily for Tousan's got a lot of workers that were mined out at the main and natural and went to the third, so maybe he can transfer some of those excess workers at his third base right now over down to that bottom left-hand position. And this is usually a lot of, honestly, one of the issues with Terran sometimes is like you get to kind of like your 3-base setup, and then grabbing that 4th base on a map like Metropolis, where it's kind of not really clear where you want to take a 4th, is quite difficult, especially to defend it as well.
Yeah, and one thing I'm noticing that's hurting Tousan a lot is we never started our +2, and it looks like we even canceled one of our armories. So we're just sitting on 1-1 with a sci-fi and not building any upgrades.
Yeah, and this little army here as well is going to get cleaned up here by Doodle. Doodle's starting to pull himself back in his game. It almost felt like Tousan was everywhere across the map, just stopping Doodle at every little moment there. But, you know, he's, again, starting to lose control of the game. Really needs to kind of establish that 4th base of his better. He does not have that much economy going down right now at that expansion. 9 SCVs mining minerals compared to he's probably got like at least 20, 25 mining at the 3rd base. So he's got to split those workers up a little bit better, maybe even try to secure that natural down there. But again, another small army here from Tousan, kind of getting wiped out here by the Archon at least, but luckily there aren't many zealots to reinforce his army here from Doodle.
Yeah, Doodle's taking like more and more of a lead though. It felt like the game was going so well for Tousan the entire time, but we see him starting to gain more and more supply, and now he's on that 3-base mining, right? So he's pretty comfortable, got that 4th base building now. And it looks like there was another drop at the bottom left, and like you said, there's not really anything like securing this base, so this base getting interrupted means that Tousan's only mining off of 1 base versus a 3-base economy Protoss right now.
Yeah, it honestly feels this might be the last chance here for Tousan. He needs to manage to somehow hold this position here, attacking the 12 o'clock, but unfortunately so many zealots are getting top. All the vultures are dead now. There's even another Reaver. Oh, man, looks like Doodle really likes to keep making those Reavers later on in the game. This army is now dead for Tousan. You can see the supply is continuously shrinking here for Tousan, now sub 100. Doodle with a 30 supply lead once again, and so much economy going for him on these 3 bases. He crucially did not lose his 2nd attempt at putting up this 12 o'clock, and that's really what's kind of been keeping up in the game after losing the bottom right-hand natural. And a lot of zealot drags here, but man, these zealots getting caught on each other a little bit, so pretty good work there from Tousan, but a huge mine drag there. At least he'll kill off all of these High Templar here. So much action going on this little skirmish here, and maybe, just maybe, Tousan's got enough to hold this right now. This last Reaver is gonna go down. No,
oh my god.
4 HP with the last Scarab. Unbelievable.
That was almost a draw. Mine's not caring which race is which, just killing both players, just everything there. And yeah, what a fight, coming out with only a single Reaver left over. And now Doodle with his 2 favorite units. We have DTs and Reavers here at the natural to defend.
Man, he loves those units. He's at least getting some Vulture harass here, sniping some of those High Templar. Really, really important to keep that storm count low, as well as getting some probe harass here. But unfortunately from Doodle's, once again, reestablished that bottom right natural. So Doodle's now on essentially what is 4-base economy. He's about to run dry at the 3 o'clock though, so be back on 3-base economy. But he has not reestablished that 4th base this entire time. That one Reaver down there has got 6 kills, just chilling down there, waiting for an SCV to come crawling over. He does have a small contingency force here, trying to shell this bottom right natural, but I doubt this is going to last for much longer. I think Doodle's going to be able to waltz down here with his units and be able to take it out. Yeah,
even these DT might just be able to clean it up on their own. And I actually would have liked to have seen Tousan take the center base, honestly. It would have been much, much easier to defend for him than this base way out here. And yeah, I mean, we're just on that 1-base economy, getting very low on resources, and Tousan down 40 supply. He's got to secure another base somehow, or he's just going to end up losing this game. He's just going to dry up.
Yeah, maybe lifting that command center to the center as you were talking about. And that's actually one of the strategies on a map like Deja Vu, for example, or Retro, which was used before, is that Terrans would they really like that center expansion. This base actually has gas, which is even better for Terran,
Right.
but most of the time it's a mineral-only base. And what happens is that if Terran can kind of secure that center location, it means that they can really spread out like an octopus around the map and kind of cut off Protoss from what they want to do. We see Tousan once again trying to attack this 12 o'clock. Does get quite a few probe kills this time around, so stopping mining here. So Doodle's going to be back down to 2-base mining. But Tousan, again, just doesn't have 2-base mining of his own. He's about to run dry here, probably in about 3 more minutes at this 9 o'clock expansion. So, you know, he's kind of against the clock right now in terms of how much longer he can remain in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great pick at 12 o'clock, but I see no movement towards taking a base. And I don't know if he just thinks he can win from here, or if he's just given up on the game or what, but he's got to be moving for another base somewhere, but I'm just not seeing it. Just no attempt anywhere. Still no upgrades. I mean, we're staying at 1-1 for the entire game. And yeah, if we don't secure a base, it doesn't matter how well we trade if we stop mining.
Yeah, even Doodle here being really efficient with his units, just sending 1 Dragoon to kind of take pot shots over here at this command center. Doodle even got +2, by the way, on his Protoss unit. So he's got probably even upgrades, essentially, with the Terran. And yeah, missing that +2 is just a huge, huge amount of DPS that you're losing out as a Terran player right now. And like you were saying, I don't see a way for him to take a 4th base. He just doesn't have the unit count to really hold a position right now. There's no way he can hold that bottom left-hand expansion with how many units he's got. And Doodle's, again, back on that kind of really good economy there with a lot of probes at the bottom right area. So it's just gonna be really hard here for Tousan. He's got to win like 3 big fights in a row to get back in this game, I think.
Yeah, kind of setting up in mid. I really like this Wraith. It's getting a lot of value, and I really get the thought process behind it. You're defending with DTs, well, DTs can't shoot my air units, so he's going to send 1 Wraith to try and shut down an entire base. And Doodle just not going to storm it, not going to make a goon. We see a push coming through mid from Tousan. It's kind of a last hurrah at this point. Going to be mined out of his base about the time this push gets snuffed out. He is down 50 supply at the moment. We got storms on the high ground. It's going to be really hard to break this position with how little he has. And then after this is gone, there's just not much behind it. Bunch of tanks left at 12 o'clock.
Templar, though. Man, that was not good for Doodle there. Had that 1 Templar. If he got 2 storms off, I think this push would have been absolutely crushed. But he's getting into a decent position here. Nice storm there, though. Okay, we got a couple storms now coming down here, and dropping the Reaver and the Dragoons from behind. I think this army is getting wiped out here for Tousan, unfortunately. And I think this is, like I said, this is last hurrah. This is it. Didn't get enough damage here with this push, and just again, no 4th base whatsoever. That CC was gonna get repaired, but I mean, how do you take a 4th from this position?
Yeah, at this point, I can't imagine him ever holding middle or anything like that. And again, I've been pointing it out. I know it's kind of, we've been harping on it a lot, guys, but it's just what it is. I mean, Tousan's not expanding. Like I said, it doesn't matter how well you're trading if you just stop mining. And that's what we're about to see in this game.
Yep. He's down to about 60 minerals on his more fresh patches. I call them fresh, even though they're at 60 minerals or whatever. Yeah, just no base. I mean, maybe there's a position where he could maybe take 12 o'clock for himself at some point, but again, it's too hard. Like, Doodle can just fly in with the shuttles, and it's so close to his rally point that he can just continue to stream units in non-stop. And even though that, Doodle's got less workers than Tousan, the fact that Tousan's not going to be mining at all from any patches soon doesn't matter. You have 200 SCVs for all I care. If you got no patches to mine, that might as well be 0.
Yeah, he is finally flying this command center towards the bottom left. But I mean, we're almost down 100 supply at this point, so he's never going to be able to kill another army, I don't feel like, of Doodles. Probe even going towards 6 o'clock, maybe thinking of expanding again. Doodle kind of uncertain of the position he's in, or maybe he's just trying to be safe, waiting for Tousan to starve out. He's kind of monitoring the bottom left base, and just... He knows Tousan's not mining. It looks like we had a bad rally, actually, is what this tank was up here, so he just lost 5 or 6 tanks and vultures completely for free.
Yeah, he is now trying to finally secure and get some defenses down there at bottom left. I think that Doodle knows about this because I think he had a Zealot there that got killed off by a couple of those vultures from Tousan. So I think he should know what's going on over there. But as you said, yeah, I think he's just playing safe. He maybe doesn't know exactly how long Tousan had that 4th base for, and so he just doesn't want to overextend himself, lose his army, and Tousan suddenly rolls out with like a 150 supply army. But us casters know that Tousan is at 67 supply. He's got barely anything left at this point, so this last push here might be it.
Yeah, we have 3 tanks to defend this entire mineral line against like 100 supply of Protoss coming this way, so I think there's absolutely no way he's going to hold this base, and with this going down, I expect to see Tousan GG, because this is all he has for economy.
Yeah, the mass Archons too. No vessel for an EMP to at least soften them up. SCV's coming off the line to try, and he's gonna type out Radion. Not even a G. He just says, "Go Radion, go next."
All right, coming into map 2 of Tousan versus Doodle. As you guys saw, Tousan did choose Radion, and we have the bottom right spawn for Tousan and close bottom left spawn for Doodle.
Yep. Close spawns here. Horizontal spawn. Usually, if I'm a Terran player and I scout my opponent, I usually try to pivot into a more aggressive strategy. Things like a 3 tank stab, kind of like last game. I don't know if he's gonna go for a 1 rax expansion again or if he's gonna go for a factory expand. But usually a 3 tank stab on this map from these positions is quite strong. There are options maybe of even going speed vulture first is an interesting idea as well. They could go on this map. But also just maybe going 4 base setup as well works as well, because you're expanding towards the Protoss. You're going to be able to take that 6 o'clock expansion and then be able to kind of shell Protoss's natural and 3rd base as well as into the main and kill some gateways while containing him over there and pushing the rest of your army to the top left part of the map.
Yeah, hopefully Tousan isn't feeling too jarred, and I think we're going for another 15cc build. So I was going to say, for Tousan, I mean, he kind of got the best possible opener, more or less. And then he did a lot of damage with his initial push. Got a really good position, ended up losing in a longer game. We are once again going for that cross scout, but hopefully for Tousan, he's not too in his head about that. Just needs to gather himself and continue to play solid. We definitely saw a lot of potential from Tousan in that game. But yeah, we are going to get, like I said, that 15cc. And luckily for him, Doodle tends to not go Zealot, it seems.
Yep. Like I said, Doodle, very, very just kind of normal standard, doesn't like to do kind of like that aggressive Zealot stuff. I'm sure he knows how to, and I'm sure he's done it many, many times before, but he is going to go ahead and just go for that normal, probably another 23 next. But we'll see. Maybe he just skips range and goes 19 nexus after seeing this command center now here from Tousan.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really curious to see is how Doodle's going to respond to early scouting this 15cc and see how he adapts, because there's a lot of different potential responses to seeing this build very early. We do actually start range, so it looks like he's just going to want to start... He does range before Goon even, so he's going to want to start poking and forcing repairs as early as possible, so that is going to be the initial response.
Yep, quite interesting there. He definitely wants to get that Goon pressure down onto the Terran economy, at least force a couple SCVs off the line so that, even if you might have a 2-3 SCV advantage, at least the SCVs aren't going to be mining for that period of time. And unfortunately, Tousan did not scout the right way here with his cross scout and didn't think, or I guess he picked the wrong close spawn location for where he thought that Doodle would have been. So he's going to be able to get in here dead last. Might not even get the scout in, but hopefully he'll get there in time to see if there's a Nexus going up or not. But Doodle is going to go for the, looks like the kind of a similar build as last time. Looks like it's going to be a 24 Nexus. Yeah,
it's interesting that he early scouts and his reaction is to do just exactly the same thing. So he seems to be pretty happy with this opener, it seems. I'll be curious to see if he wants to go for an early 3rd Nexus or something like that at least, or if he just wants to continue to play exactly the same. Just go into Reaver from here, or what's going to happen. Yeah, we are going to chase this SCV a little bit. Unfortunately, we did stop chasing. And this is totally okay to do because he knows that it's 15cc, he knows there's no Vulture coming out, and there's not really any point being in front of the bunker when you don't have range anyway, so no reason not to chase this SCV down and kill it.
Yep, and it's actually going to line up perfectly. He's going to send these goons across the map now, and by the time they get to the bunker, that range is going to be done. So really good job there from Doodle. And Tousan actually sent a second SCV out onto the map. You can see it in the center of the map right now, getting ready to maybe poke back in and do kind of the similar scout that he did last game, where he saw no Citadel of a Dune, knows that he can delay his eBay for as long as possible. Doodle, as we see, is going for that robotics facility once again, so might just play out a very similar game as last time. So far, neither player has kind of deviated from the previous strategy.
So Tousan just poked in to see if it was a really early 3rd Nexus or not, and then SCV gonna go back out. Kind of curious what he's gonna do with that. His scouting has been really strong in both games so far now. Goon's gonna start chipping away at this bunker. SCV just gonna sit in the middle. Might wait for a couple more goons to show up before going to scout, I thought, but it looks like we are just gonna dive back in.
Yep. Looks like it's gonna unfortunately run into this Dragoon. We'll see if Doodle's gonna recognize that and be able to take out this SCV before it can get into the main base of his. No, unfortunately, the SCV is going to be able to sneak by, get into the main, and see everything that is going on here. And we do see that, nope, everything's standard. He sees one gate, so maybe he might suspect something is up at the very least. Does see the Robo, so he probably suspects that a 3rd base isn't put down to this point. The only other alternative would have been that there's like proxy gateway somewhere on the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible there could be a proxy, but I mean, if you're seeing the Robo, you you can pretty much assume that there's no proxy. It wouldn't really make a lot of sense to go robo and proxy gate at the same time. Um, I mean, you could do it if you wanted to be tricky, I guess, but yeah, it would be a little bit odd. But yeah, he might be able to, or he should be able to figure out that there is a third Nexus that went down pretty early. So definitely a slightly different response from Doodle this time than last game, going for the quick observatory instead of Reaver.
Yep, being a little bit more economic right now. Nice barracks positioning, soaking up some of these goon fire right now because the tank is kind of moving underneath it. Goon doesn't really, can't really see where the tank is, so I can't really fire at it. But now there are 4 goons, so he's got to be a little bit careful here with how he moves this this tank around. And that bunker might go down right now. There's not 4 SCVs repairing it. Unfortunately for Doodle, he's just a little bit worried about how many tanks maybe that Tousan has or the siege timing, so he's just gonna pull back. But man, that bunker got down to like 20 HP. That was cutting it a little close there for Tousan.
Yeah, that got pretty scary. It's just a couple more volleys from going down, and that tank had already been shelled a couple times, so it was only like 6 hits away, I believe, from getting killed. So definitely a little bit of a scary moment for Tousan, gonna come out completely fine here. Third Nexus up and running for Doodle. We got 4 gateways coming down, and I mean, things looking pretty good for Doodle. We'll see if we go for that 3 tank stab again. We got double factory upgrades running, so I think we're about to unload and go poke, potentially, but I think Doodle's in a much better position this time to hold it than he was last game.
Yeah, he's kind of traded the Reaver for extra gates right now, and so in either case, I think he'll be totally in a fine position to hold this off. He went 1 gate into 1 gate triple. He's going to have a lot of economy here to kind of stop this push coming out, and as well as the fact that Tousan last time pushed out much earlier, obviously, because he went for a 1 RAS fast expand rather than going for well, no, he did the same thing, but this time he got siege mode instead of last time. I think he went a little bit faster, skipped the siege, and pushed out quicker. But in either case, Tousan, by the way, did get supply block at the dreaded 44-44. So there is maybe a little bit of a reason why this push isn't coming out quite as early as we would expect it from him.
Yeah, that could be it. The infamous 44-44. You know, while we're waiting for a little bit to build up here, I actually, it's funny, I used to build my extra depot too early. So it would be way too high of supply. It'd be like, what is it, like 32, 52 or something, whatever it ends up being when I do that. And then I realized I was making that mistake, so I adjusted, and now I am also blocking at 44-44 every single game.
It's the hardest thing, man, because you build that command center, you're like, oh, I don't need to build a supply depot, and then you kind of forget to kind of build that rhythm again of getting that supply depot out, and that's what happens. You get blocked at 44 out of 44, and it's every Terran's worst nightmare. I mean, if you were to do like a drinking stream, the best drinking thing to do would be just say, every time I get 44 blocked, just take a shot. You know, you'll be drunk after 5 games. You'll be drunk as a skunk, and after that.
Tousan going for a very early 3rd CC, which I kind of like this this adjustment here. Is out on the map with these vultures. Gonna try and find a little bit of damage, but they're actually gonna get caught by these goons. We got goons below and goons circling around on the bridge, so it looks like these vultures gonna get blocked off, and this not gonna be great for Tousan. Our supply is gonna dip very low after these end up dying off.
Yeah, beautiful positioning and maneuvering here from Doodle here. Managed to kill 3 of those and kind of get a nice surround there by those Dragoons, and only lost 1 probe there. Did a really good probe micro drill onto that mineral patch so that the vultures couldn't target the probes there. But yeah, I agree. I like this adjustment. I do like this switch up here from Tousan. He's got to try something different maybe from last game, although, again, I thought that he had an advantage last game. So, but obviously this game stays a little bit different from last game, considering that he doesn't have that economic lead anymore. Yeah,
I'm a little bit worried for Tousan right now. Supply is very low, and our extra factories are pretty late coming down. We were kind of floating almost 1,000 minerals by the time we started adding extra factories, so our production's very light. And there is a chance, actually, that Doodle has a timing before production kicks in for Tousan that he can break this opening. And if he does that, I mean, Tousan's never going to be able to take us 3rd from there.
Yep. We don't see that Doodle adding more gates. Instead, he's actually taking a 4th base, knowing with the observers overhead there, seeing the factory count, seeing the CC, knows that Tousan, there's no chance in hell that Tousan's ever pushing across the map right now. And so he's just playing extremely, extremely greedy, getting that very quick 4th base up. And so Doodle's going to be in a fantastic position no matter what he's going to decide to do. He's probably still going to end up maxing out somewhere around 12 minutes or so once he gets the next gateway explosion, which is what he's starting to get to do right now. 5th and 6th gateway coming down. And yeah, we'll see. He's got a shuttle overhead with some zealots. Could maybe do a zealot bomb in here and clean up these tanks. There's not a lot of vulture support.
There's 0 vulture support, yeah.
Yep, but here we go. Vulture or zealots getting dropped right now. Here come the goons. This is a tight spot here.
Oh, we unsiege?
This is everything. Oh boy, this is gonna get really dangerous right now.
Yeah, we get an unsiege as the zealots drop on top, and now we have a bunch of unsiege tanks with a lot of goons barreling down on top of them. A lot of these tanks are going to go down, and even if Tousan holds, I mean, this army getting reset means he's never coming out on the map.
Yeah, this is unfortunately it's over, and
Yeah.
so no GG just leaves. That was so unfortunately just so sad what happened there, but that's something what Protosses do, man. Like they scare you a little bit, make you unsiege all your tanks, and then come at you with the Dragoons. And really well done there by Doodle. Just I mean, I thought Doodle played that game really, really well.
Yeah,
Had a
Doodle
really good
played very
strategy, good
strong.
response, and yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations to Doodle. Gonna win this series 2-0 and join our boy Kavapu in the round of 16.